There are a lot of new players in the high interest savings account space, especially since we were at 0% interest for quite a while. So now things at 2% or higher are pretty attractive. But are they worth it, first of all, and will they last? Hey guys, how's it going, and thanks for coming. I'm Nick, and this is Real Life Money, where we help you become debt free so you could start making real money and start living your real life. And yes, I'm one of those weirdos that will do almost anything to save a buck, and you might be as well if you're watching this video, because we're going over high interest savings accounts. So we'll be talking about some of the popular savings accounts out there, some of the not so popular ones that you might have missed, and, well, one, if they're worth it, and will they be keeping those high interest savings accounts, and if not, what will you be able to do? So starting off with probably the most popular online savings account is with Ally Bank. Now, something interesting, by the way, a few months ago they've been paying maybe like 2.2%, then they dropped to 2.1%, and right now what you're going to see, they are at 1.9%. So they have been dropping, which we're going to be talking about in a few minutes of why and will they drop lower, but let's just look at it right now. So they are paying 1.9% for a savings account. You can see some of their money market accounts, but you can see obviously anyone with half a brain would go for the savings account for them. And I'd figure just to throw in some other interest rate type of products, not like a savings account, they are CDs, so they kind of lock your money up, but just to put some rates out there, they are giving a 12-month CD for 2.5, and you could also see a no penalty CD at the very end, which is 11 months, and you could see those rates there. I personally don't care for CDs just because it locks your money up, but it really depends on your situation. So if you know that you're going to be saving for the next year, you really don't want to take too much risk because you're planning on getting a house or like a car or something like that, then maybe that's where you could park it. But if you're looking to grow your money, maybe not so much. Now, there are some savings accounts that are still above 2% at this point. You're looking at Weathfront. Currently, they are giving a 2.32%, and kind of similar to Ally, they were giving a higher rate like a few months ago. If I remember correctly, it was closer to like 2.5%. So they are dropping. A lot of companies out there are doing this. And of course, another popular one a lot of people may be talking about is Betterment. Right now, they are giving a 2.44%. Now, first of all, are they actually worth it? Now, everyone knows Ally Bank, you know, they're insured by FDIC, your money is safe, and it's an online account. Great. Similar to Wealthfront, but after doing a little bit of research into Betterment, there is, of course, fine print. And what we found is there is a fee of 0.25%. So what that means to you is that advertised rate of 2.44 is actually false, minus that 0.25%. So it's actually closer, or is 2.19%. So those are the main popular ones that you probably have heard before. And we're going into the not so popular, excuse you. So those are the more popular savings accounts online. So we're going to be going into the little less popular savings accounts. But if you do have any comments of if you actually used these accounts, do you have another account that we're not talking about, definitely let us know in the comment section so you could help other people out as well, because everyone wants to save a couple bucks. So the not so popular savings account, if you're a little bit more of a baller, you can get into Discover. So they do have a savings account. You do need $15,000, but that is giving you that 2%. But to lock up like $15,000 just to get 2%, there are the ones that we just talked about. They're probably more worth it at this point. But if you're just like looking to park a bunch of money, that probably isn't a large issue. Now, another company that a lot of people love, including myself, is Vanguard. They usually offer like retirement accounts and mutual funds and everything like that, but they also offer a money market mutual fund. Very popular, so looking at that, you can see that they have an expense ratio of 0.11%. So there is a little bit there, and their yield is, currently right now is around 2.16%. So after that expense ratio, you are kind of back at the 2% yielding mark. So again, not too bad. There is a minimum for this fund of $3,000. So it is more than like $1 that some banks require. But again, it's not like a ridiculous amount like Discover for $15,000. Now, something that I will say is this Vanguard money market account actually could return more than just a yield. So for example, you could see year to date, the Federal Money Market Fund also produced a 1.4% return. So technically, if you're looking at a dividend of 2% plus that, 1% or so, you could be looking at 3%. Not necessarily all interest, but interest as well as a return. And this could be seen like more people are getting into these type of things, so kind of supply and demand. More people are buying those, so it returns something higher than just the interest rate. Now, if these are helping you so far, you just need to slightly, delicately hit the thumbs up button if it is helping, so it could help other people as well. But this last one, before we get into talking about could these rates drop even further, is something a lot of people really don't talk about, and these are T-bills through Treasury Direct. I personally have been doing this for, what is it now, August? Like 6 to 8 months at this point. So they are working, but let me explain it a little bit. So you could see the rates right here. So you're investing directly into the government, and you could get paid back either in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 13, 26 weeks. So kind of similar to a CD, but a shorter duration. So I was usually just doing a 1 month. It was super simple. A little bit different idea for a T-bill is that first it takes a discount rate. So for example, if you want to put $1,000 into a T-bill, they're going to take, just to make things simple, let's say they take $995 from your account. When it matures, let's say like a month later, they give you the full $1,000. Kind of works backwards, but that's how it works. So you can see that the rates right now, at least for the 4-week currently, is averaging around a 2.1. And you could say the longer the duration, the lower the rate goes, which is really messed up, and why is we're going to talk about it right now. So if you're still watching this video, that means you're probably a nerd about this stuff. Luckily, I am too. So basically what's going on right now is the yield curve is inverting. What you kind of just saw is that shorter term bonds or bills, like a 1 month, is paying more than a 1 year or 2 year or even a 10 year at this point. So things are definitely not stable going further. So while we're on this topic, talking about interest rates, and if you heard about the Fed, they did drop the federal funds rate. So you can see this chart right here. It has been increasing for a little while now. We have been at 0 for quite some time, but they have been increasing it. And you can see at the very end, it has dropped 1/4 percentage point. So this is probably the main factor why a lot of companies, we saw it with Ally, we saw it a lot with these online savings accounts, of if the Federal Reserve drops these rates, then these savings accounts cannot produce that stable 2%. So for example, if the federal funds rate is paying 2%, it's not very stable, for, let's say, some other company to pay you 2.25%, because at that point they're kind of losing money. Unless they're gaining money other ways. I'm just simply putting it, if they're paying more interest than receiving it, that's just not stable. Now, a lot of investors, a lot of banks are foreseeing the federal funds rate to be dropping in the near future. So, for example, like a year from now, it might be much lower than it is today. Some people are forecasting 0% again. So these high interest savings accounts might not be along much longer. So overall, guys, I would love to save $1, probably the same as you. But if I'm going to actually do something and put effort into saving money, I want to save more than $1. So when you really think about it, if you're just putting like $1,000 into one of these savings accounts that gives you 2% interest, you're getting $2 for an entire year. So if you're going to like bust your butt to open up new accounts, then it might become a little bit more difficult to get your money, because now it's an online savings account. So to get that money, you would have to like initiate it, so it might take a couple days to go into your regular bank account, then you withdraw it that way. Is it worth it for an extra 50 cents on every $1,000 to go into something like this? For me personally, no. Now, I will say I do have a credit union that is paying a 2% for their money market accounts, so it's extremely liquid for me. If you guys are interested, it's Bethpage Federal Credit Union. I live on Long Island, New York. If you could set it up like online, you could look into it. I'm not entirely sure, but it won't be liquid for you because then it's just an online bank account. So that's why I'm not moving my money anywhere, just because it's liquid. I'm getting that 2%. You could get something similar like an Ally, and you'll be safe there. And just something extra to think about, which is disgusting, is that other countries around the world, and it's something to think about because we're all essentially connected, that these countries, a lot of them, have negative interest rates. Crazy to think about, the simple idea that you're going to give a bank your money and you have to pay them to hold your money. What? And other countries are also lowering their rates, so this could be forecasting something in the near future. So these high interest savings accounts might not be around much longer. And just as an additional idea, if you do think rates are going to continuously drop like a lot of people are believing, you could use a CD. It kind of locks in your rate for maybe like a year, and then you just capitalize off of that. But if you are looking to grow your money, these low rates aren't really doing much for you. So definitely look into other investments. I have talked about Ray Dalio's all-weather portfolio into stocks, bonds, and even gold. So you might be interested. Check it out. So by the way, none of these are sponsored by at all. If you guys are interested, you could check out any of these accounts. You could open them up. Of course, do your research if you really want to do this. But if you just want your money somewhere safe, you want it kind of liquid, put it in a regular account. Unless you're with like one of those commercial banks, like a Chase, they're probably still paying like 0.1%. So if you do want to put it in like an Ally or something like that, you get a little bit more. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. What account do you use for your savings account to maximize your interest? Everyone would love to know what you actually use. Like I said, I use a credit union. I have been using T-bills because a few months ago they were paying like 2.3, 2.4. Now they're kind of at the 2% range just because the rates dropped again. So now it doesn't make sense to lock up my money for a month. So I just keep it in a money market. Let us know what you guys are doing. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. This is an interesting topic. And I'll see you guys in the next one.